isn't it? That is the purpose of peristaltic movements in the small intestine. So we have various, see, this is the question now, movements of small intestine. So we have different types of movements which allows the mixing of food, digestion of food, absorption of food in small intestines. So in mixing movements, we have different types of movements like segmentation movements, pendular movements. Then in propulsive movements, we have peristaltic movements and peristaltic rush. Then we have other movements also taking place in small intestine like peristalsis in fasting, migrating motor complex and movements of Wheeler. First, let us see mixing movements. Under this mixing movement, small intestine is like the partially digested food which is entering in small intestine is chyme. We know in the duodenum, pancreatic juice and bile juice is entering. So all these three juices are thoroughly mixed, and these movements will actually facilitate all these mixing mechanism. Now see, for example, segmentation contraction. First thing is this. So this is the peristaltic wave which is moving forwards in the GIT, which is, suppose if the food bolus is here in this loop of the small intestine, the wave of contraction is coming, and it is just contraction wave is just before the bolus of the food. Because of this contraction wave, you will see the bolus will be moved forwards, and the segment of intestine which was relaxing initially, now it has contracted, so that the food which was here is, it has now moved forwards. Okay, so this is what is segmentation contraction. Pendular movements is like, you will see in wall clocks there will be pendulum which will be moving. Similarly, our intestines are also moving like a pendulum, which also facilitates proper mixing. Okay, then we have uh, propulsive movements. Under propulsive movements, we have peristaltic movements. Again, in these peristaltic movements, if you observe, here in the loop of small intestine, the food bolus here is here, and you are finding the wave of contraction has started. Because of this wave of contraction, the food bolus is pushed ahead, and this particular area of the intestine which was contracting is now relaxing, and because of this wave of contraction, and food has moved much ahead, and immediately before the bolus again the part of the intestine has started contracting. So this law is actually Starling's law of intestine, where you see the wave of contraction is initiated just before the bolus of food in the small intestine, which again helps in propulsion of food. Okay, beta. So peristaltic rush, that means what? Sometimes we will see there will be as though so many movements in the abdomen. As when we eat something from outside, you will find that type of movement. Sometimes we may get loose motions also. Okay, so that means those fast movements which occur sometimes in the small intestines, powerful contractions, which may be occurring due to irritation of intestinal mucosa, which is called as peristaltic rush. Okay. So this may also cause the rush of contents of small intestine into large intestine, that is colon, leading to loose motions. Okay, though we do not eat sometimes, suppose when we are fasting, despite of that, you will see as our skeletal muscle is always in partial state of contraction, that is muscle tone. Similarly, these are smooth muscles, right? So the GIT is also always contracting, whether irrespective of food. That is, slow waves of contractions are always recorded even when we are not eating. That's what is peristalsis in fasting. May not be so fast, but you will find. So we know lining epithelium of gastric glands is columnar cells, isn't it? And each columnar cells will show finger-like projections, which are nothing but villi. So these intestinal villi will be moving, isn't it? So and that also will allow the movement of food in the lumen of small intestine. Okay, so that is all about movements, and there is a question which is functions of large intestine. What is the function of large intestine? What type of food is entering into large intestine? The undigested food. That means whatever is left over after the process of digestion and absorption, which is taking place in the small intestine, the undigested waste excretory material has entered into the large intestine. So that large intestine will be containing fecal matter. So but it contains large amount of water, electrolytes, glucose, certain drugs. All these will get reabsorbed from the mucosa of large intestine. Okay, the fecal matter is actually formed in the large intestine by the reabsorption of important elements into the blood. Then the remaining things which are not reabsorbed and which are harmful to the body are excreted along with certain heavy metals like mercury, lead, bismuth, arsenic through fecal matter. The large intestine, if you remember from histology, we have goblet cells, no? The goblet cells will secrete mucin, which will lubricate the fecal matter so that the fecal matter becomes soft and constipation is prevented. Okay. So the bacterial flora which is present in the large intestine is very important because it synthesizes B complex vitamins like folic acid and B12 and vitamin K. Okay, because all these are very important for erythropoietic activity. First two are actually important for erythropoietic activity, and we know K is responsible for blood clotting mechanism. Okay, so this has come for 2 marks, functions of large intestine. And then transport we have studied. Hypoxia. Hypoxia. What is hypoxia? Many times I told you, no, Ritika? Can you just tell me what is hypoxia and enumerate types of hypoxias, beta? It will be an encouragement for Meghana. What is hypoxia?
Shortage of oxygen.
Deficiency of oxygen in the blood is hypoxia. What are the various types of hypoxias, beta?
Uh, Anemic hypoxia.
Very good. Anemic hypoxia. Excellent. That means what? Keep elaborating then only. Number one, you told. Anemic hypoxia. If you are not telling, I will tell. Not a problem. Again, we will open and read nicely. Okay. Anemic hypoxia. What happens there, beta? You are right.
Uh,
Due to improper, like deficiency of RBC, the oxygen is unable to reach the tissues. No?
yes, ma'am.
Huh. Okay, very good. Then what is the next hypoxia, beta?
Uh, Stagnant.
Histotoxic. That means tissues are not in the position to accept oxygen. Histotoxic. No? Then
Yes.
stagnant. That means the blood circulation is sluggish, so that oxygen is unable to reach the tissues. That is stagnant hypoxia. Hypoxic hypoxia. In the sense, in the atmosphere, oxygen is not sufficient. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah. Mm, now let us go. Where is respiratory system? But I'm not finding. CNS is lost, right? Mm. Renal system. Innervation of urinary bladder. There is one picture. We will try to remember the page number. That is 333. After cardiovascular only we had respiratory and we have jumped. Okay, 673. There is a two marker called as innervation of urinary bladder. That means you should talk about nerve supply of urinary bladder. So there is a picture which shows the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve supply, isn't it? Ritika, what is the name of the reflex which controls the urinary output?
Micturition reflex.
Very good. So in this micturition reflex only you have this picture. So this is the innervation of urinary bladder, nerve supply. Okay. One side sympathetic nerves are shown and the other side parasympathetic nerves are shown. Learn this picture and you can write in your own words what are the sympathetic nerves, list out, and parasympathetic nerves. Okay. So that is, these are the nerves we are finding at urethra. Okay, that is the innervation of urinary bladder. Then 673 page we have hypoxia and all. What is cardiac output, Ritika? The amount of blood pumped by
In heart in 1 minute.
per minute, isn't it? That means from right ventricle, the amount of blood which is pumped into pulmonary trunk. From left ventricle, the amount of blood which is pumped into aorta, isn't it? So that is cardiac output. Now, for 2 marks, you have a question like what are the different techniques? You have to talk like direct method, which is done in animals, but is not allowed. You have to talk about fixed principle. Beta, you just go through with the formula. Okay. There is a formula that is fixed principle to learn this. Okay. Now we are moving to two questions we have here. One is dead space for 2 marks. What is dead space? The part of the respiratory tract which is not involved in the exchange of gases is nothing but dead space. So now what are the parts of respiratory system we have? Nose, pharynx, larynx, then trachea. Trachea we have right bronchus, left bronchus. Then each bronchus we have primary bronchus, secondary bronchus, tertiary bronchus, bronchiole and alveoli. Okay, so till the respiratory bronchiole, we have it is only conducting system. Okay, after that we have this atrium and this alveoli. These are the areas where we will find exchange of gases. So the part of the respiratory system which is concerned with exchange of gases is the part which is concerned like we have uh, like this is transporting part and this is a respiratory part. Okay, now we have a question which is called as a dead space. Dead space in the sense the part of the respiratory system which is involved only in conduction of gases but not exchange of gases. Okay, in case of a normal person who doesn't have any respiratory disorders, the anatomical dead space and physiological dead space is same, because till respiratory bronchiole we do not have any exchange of gas. Only after respiratory bronchiole you will see the oxygen will be entering into the pulmonary capillary network. Okay, so somewhere it is discussed better and it is for 2 marks. Just see once. That is dead space. Meghana, did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So after that, I will just show you hypoxia. Hypoxia is the question, no? So what did you understand as hypoxia, Meghana?
Inadequate supply of oxygen.
Okay. Do you remember the 4 types what Ritika told us just now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Anemic,
excellent.
hypo hypoxia,
Mm.
and
Histotoxic?
histotoxic.
Yeah.
And I don't stagnant.
Stagnant. Very good, very good. Okay, nice. Very good. But hypoxia is defined as reduced availability of oxygen to the tissues. Okay, so we have different types. What are the various types? You just hypoxic hypoxia, anemic hypoxia, stagnant hypoxia, and histotoxic. Hypoxic in the sense in the atmosphere proper oxygen is not available. Anemic means RBC are not sufficient in the blood to carry oxygen to the tissues. Stagnant in the sense the blood flow is very much sluggish, because of which oxygen is not reaching the tissues. Histotoxic in the sense tissues are not in the position to receive oxygen. There may be some necrosis or some disease better. Okay, dead space functions. Okay, so finished better. All questions we are done. Only one, like what are the various connections we have? That is intercellular connections. That is from initial chapters. You can see. Cell membrane. Yeah. Intercellular connections are nothing but cell junctions, better. Okay. That means between the cells, whatever connections are there, you call them as intercellular connections. So we have different types of connections like occluding junctions, communicating junctions, and anchoring junctions. This is as per 4 marks. That means you need to elaborate only better. Like for example, if it is occluding junctions, cell junctions which prevent intercellular occluding means what? If some hole is there, that is completely closed. That is the meaning of occluding junctions. So under occluding junctions, we have tight junctions where proteins are taking part in the formation of tight junctions. Okay, we may have a scaffold. That means a framework or platform of proteins which is preventing the entry of substance across the cells. Okay, so of course they act as barriers and will not allow. So you have see tight junctions which are shown here. You can draw this cell 1 and cell 2, and between them you have some junctions like this. Okay, gap junctions also you can draw. Okay, they are not continuous. Here these are tight junctions, whereas there are certain breaks in the junctions. You call them as gap junctions. Apart from that, we have anchoring junctions also, attaching. So under anchoring junctions, we have desmosomes, intermediate filaments, actin filaments, adherents, okay, hemidesmosomes, focal adhesions. All these are different types better. So it's better you go with this table. It looks very simple. What are the junction type you have? What are the proteins involved? What are the functions and examples? For example, tight junctions. If you just look at this first picture, this is our tight junction, right? You look, keep this picture in the mind and you see the proteins what you are finding like rectangles there. The name is occludin, claudin, jams, cingulin and all. So they actually they give strength and stability to tissues. They also help in selective permeability, fencing function and all. So example, epithelial lining. Where do we see? In the intestinal mucosa and renal tubules. Endothelium in capillary wall. So you just give this table and draw as many diagrams as possible better. Okay. So that is all about this one better. And last one is actually cardiac output. I already told you, you can just talk about Fick's principle. There is a formula, just go through the one line formula. It's a 2 marks question because I'll try to show you cardiac output 572. Okay. See, just this is for 2 marks, measurement of cardiac output. See, we have two methods. I told you, like we can make use of cardiometer or flow meter, just names you give. Then direct methods, directly we can introduce a catheter into the heart as though it is open heart surgery. We can usually use this method in animals, but due to like we have certain ethics not to harm the animals, so this technique is no more used. You just go through with this fixed principle, which is easy technique of measuring cardiac output. This formula you should write. Amount of substance taken or given is nothing but amount of blood flow per minute multiplied by arteriovenous difference. Anyhow, this comes as an essay 10 marks question. I will elaborate it then. Okay.